The landscape of Formula One is currently undergoing a seismic shift, one that transcends the immediate results of the most recent Grand Prix weekends. As the sport barrels toward the massive regulatory overhaul of 2026, the whisperings from the dynos and the engineering hubs in Brackley and Milton Keynes are beginning to coalesce into a formidable reality. For fans of the sport, and specifically for the future partnership between Lewis Hamilton and Scuderia Ferrari, the news that Mercedes and Red Bull powertrains appear to have secured a significant head start in the development of the next generation of power units is nothing short of a sporting crisis in the making. To understand why this is such a devastating blow for the Maranello-based squad, one must look at the specific nature of the 2026 regulations. The shift toward a near 50-50 split between internal combustion and electrical power is not just a tweak. It is a fundamental reimagining of how a Formula One car generates and deploys energy. In this high-stakes technological race, time is the only currency that truly matters. Reports suggesting that Mercedes has already achieved hit-rate milestones with their thermal efficiency, and that Red Bull, in partnership with Ford, has successfully integrated their first full-system prototypes, put Ferrari in a defensive posture before Hamilton has even donned the scarlet race suit. The irony of this situation is palpable. Lewis Hamilton's decision to leave Mercedes, the team that defined his career and provided him with the machinery to equal Michael Schumacher's record, was predicated on the belief that Ferrari offered the best path toward an 8th world title. Hamilton is a driver who operates on instinct and data, and his move was seen as a vote of confidence in Ferrari's technical trajectory under the leadership of Fred Vasseur. However, if the power unit parity is skewed from the outset of 2026, Hamilton may find himself in a hauntingly familiar position, driving his heart out in a car that is structurally incapable of matching the straight-line speed and energy recovery of its rivals. Mercedes, historical masters of the hybrid era, seem to have rediscovered their mojo. Their 2014 power unit was a masterpiece of engineering that gave them a dominant advantage for years. Early indications suggest they have approached the 2026 regulations with the same clinical aggression. By optimizing the electrical MGUK deployment and finding innovative ways to manage battery cooling, they are reportedly seeing numbers that exceed their internal projections. For Hamilton, seeing his former team leap ahead in the area he relied on for a decade must be a bitter pill to swallow, especially as he prepares to transition to a team that has historically struggled with power unit reliability and deployment efficiency during transitional eras. On the other side of the paddock, the Red Bull Ford project represents a massive gamble that appears to be paying off. While there were initial doubts about Red Bull's ability to build a world-class engine from scratch, even with the remnants of Honda's intellectual property and an influx of talent, the latest updates suggest the Milton Keynes facility is operating at a level of efficiency that rivals established manufacturers. For Ferrari, who have prided themselves on being the soul of the engine, being outpaced by a drinks company and a returning American giant is a blow to their prestige. More importantly, it creates a performance gap that is incredibly difficult to close once the season begins due to the restrictive testing and development tokens that usually accompany new engine cycles. The implications for Ferrari's 2026 chassis design are equally concerning. A power unit is not a standalone component. Its dimensions, cooling requirements, and weight distribution dictate the entire aerodynamic philosophy of the car. If Ferrari is behind on the engine, they are likely behind on the integration. If the Mercedes or Red Bull engines are more compact or require less cooling, those teams can run tighter bodywork, leading to superior aerodynamic efficiency. Hamilton, who excels in cars that are stable under braking and agile in high-speed transitions, could find himself wrestling with a Ferrari that has to compromise its aero package just to keep a struggling engine from overheating. Furthermore, the psychological impact on the Scuderia cannot be ignored. Ferrari is a team that thrives on momentum and crumbles under the weight of internal pressure. If they enter the 2026 season, the most anticipated season in recent history, with a power deficit, the tifosi and the Italian media will be relentless. For Hamilton, who is looking for a swan song that cements his legacy, a multi-year struggle to catch up to the Mercedes and Red Bull engines would be a tragic conclusion to a storied career. He did not move to Italy to fight for best of the rest, he moved to win. The 2026 engine regulations also emphasize sustainable fuels, an area where corporate partnerships with global energy giants become critical. Mercedes and Red Bull have spent years aligning their fuel chemistry with their combustion chamber designs. If Ferrari's partnership in this sector hasn't yielded the same caloric efficiency, they will be fighting a losing battle on two fronts: hardware and chemistry. In a sport where championships are won by milliseconds, a 2% deficit in fuel efficiency or a slightly less efficient energy recovery system is an eternity. As we look toward the horizon, the narrative of the Hamilton-Ferrari era is already being shaped by engineering labs thousands of miles away from the racetracks. While the 2025 season will be a celebratory lap for Hamilton at Mercedes and a year of preparation at Ferrari, the dark clouds of the 2026 engine data are looming. If Mercedes and Red Bull have truly cracked the code early, Ferrari will need a technical miracle to prevent Hamilton's dream move from becoming a strategic nightmare. The race hasn't started yet, but in the dyno rooms of England, the first laps are already being won. Would you like me to expand on the specific technical differences?